Γεια σας φίλοι μου, this is Nassia Skoulikariti and I'm really excited to be part of Humans of Telecom.
Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to Humans of Telecom, the Unplugged podcast. This is your host Anurag Aggarwal, Chief Revenue Officer at GMS. As you all know, this is a platform where we pull back the curtain on the fast-paced world of telecom and highlight the personal stories of key figures, industry leaders, and entrepreneurs from the telco space. And our guest today is one such person who is a seasoned technology entrepreneur, digital transformation strategist, and an executive business coach with a career spanning nearly 30 years. This person wears so many hats that it's difficult to keep count of her achievements. Whether it is creating a company that drives efficiency and revenue growth through IoT and AI, or being the chief digital officer of a global telco consultant, or an IoT director for an industry forum. Gosh, this lady manages us all with such panache and ease. Her insights and expertise have cemented her reputation as a thought leader, making her a highly sought-after speaker at premier IoT and telco conferences worldwide, and also being recognized by LinkedIn as a top voice in our industry. What makes her even more relevant for Humans of Telecom is a mission to humanize technology by combining her tech acumen with transformational coach consulting. Her vision extends beyond the bottom line, aiming to harness technology as a force for good, enabling people to live richer and more meaningful lives. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Nassia Skoulikariti, founder and CEO at Apiro Data. Nassia, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this journey. We'd love to hear more about you. Which part of the world do you belong to? And from where are you joining this podcast today?
Hello Anurag, hello everybody. I'm so happy to be here and thank you for your kind words. That was quite an introduction. Well, I hail from Greece. Originally, I was born and raised in Greece, and I made myself my way, I would say, to the UK via the US. I'm also a US citizen, and I've lived in several countries, including the Netherlands. I've traveled globally, but today I'm coming to you from rainy London.
Wonderful, Nassia. It's so amazing to have you on the show finally. I know we've been trying to work it out for a while. And just like everything else, your name is equally exotic, So there is Nassia and Skoulikariti. Is that a correct way I'm pronouncing your name?
That's very good. That's very good. Yes. My name has been a challenge throughout my life. When I was in the US, I went to school first in the East Coast of the US and as an exchange student. And I knew it was my turn, they were taking roll in the morning that they had to say my name because they would stop, look up, wait for a bit. And I knew that was me. It was a given. They couldn't pronounce my name. And through my career, it's been a challenge. I'll tell you a funny story, which, people have heard before, but I think it's still relevant. When I used to work for Colt, my VP at the time, he found an interesting way of remembering my name and being able to pronounce it. And his way of remembering and saying my name is to associate it with School of Karate. Now, why is this works with my name? When you say School of Karate very fast, it comes out as Skoulikariti, which is the English pronunciation of Skoulikariti. So there you go. A little tidbit of where my name comes from and how you can pronounce it.
Thank you. Thank you for that little tip. I think that'll help me in future. I've always been ducking whenever I have to say your surname. Now I have a wonderful reference to take on. Okay, and let's start with Nassia's journey. So while you mentioned briefly about Greece and the US and UK, so let's understand more. What's your childhood been like growing up in Greece? What made you move to the US? What made you come back to Europe, come back to UK? And how was telecom part of the journey? Was it coincidental? Was it planned? Let's hear more about you.
Well, what can I say about my childhood in the US is it was quintessential. I mean, as kids, we used to spend the summers in the village with the grandparents, playing with the cousins. We were outside a lot, something that kids don't get these days. And I think that gave me a richer understanding of our world and how important it is to stay connected with everything and everyone around us. From a very young age, I had this bizarre fascination with the US. I would listen to CNN to try to learn English. Of course, we were going to English school from very young age. And when I had the opportunity to move to the US as an exchange student, I took it. And then I had the opportunity to go back to do my university degree there. And stayed for a good 12 years. My daughter was born in the U.S. And myself, I became a U.S. citizen when my daughter was born there. That's where I started my telco career. And as you can imagine, it was not by design as we know, a lot of us that get into telco is not like, it wasn't a dream kind of a thing. Oh, yes, one day I will be part of telco. It was purely by chance and curiosity. I used to work in IT before telco. And I thought I had a friend who had joined a new startup on the VoIP world. And he was raving about how wonderful it is, traveling the world. And I thought, I want some of that. I want to experience that thing instead of being stuck in an office. And the rest is history. My telco journey started in the very, very early days with iBasis. And and I'm here now after many years, still in telco.
Interesting, Nassia. So I think we must all thank that friend who gave you that little bit of a travel bug that helped you get into this journey. And that's why today we have Nassia amongst us. Awesome.
Anurag, if I may say that I've been blessed from this industry, and I'm so grateful for all the people that have crossed my path, yourself included, and every person has such a unique story to say and something to offer. So I think this community is so rich, and that's why we have such a hard time to leave it.
Absolutely. I can totally vouch for that. I've also been here for over a decade now, and it's very difficult to imagine being outside of this. But yeah, let's see what the future has in store for each one of us.
Indeed.
And in this awesome journey of yours, Nassia, if there are one or two moments which have been extremely impactful, what would that one or two moments be?
Yeah. As you can imagine, with almost 3 decades in the industry, I've had a lot of pivotal moments. But I tell you something that shaped me and the way that I operate as a person, as a business person, was my very first day with iBasis, which, by the way, was not called iBasis back then. And so I joined them to take care of EMEA, buying, selling, setting up VoIP connections, and so on and so forth. I walked in and I said, here I am. What do you want me to do? And my director at the time, he said to me, well, I'm off to Asia for a business trip. Figure it out. And that's all I've been doing. I've been figuring it out ever since in everything that I do. And it works quite well with me because I'm a very curious person by nature. So given that opportunity to understand, learn, play, and figuring out things has been extremely pivotal, on everything that I do. So for me, that shaped me as a person in telecom. And it's a very important area, on everything that we do, trying to figure it out instead of taking it something for granted or staying within a box. So I would say that was the biggest career-wise moment.
Awesome. That's a good story to hear, Nassia. And now let's move out from this career side to what we call the human side. So let's hear more about Nassia. So Nassia, well, there's so much you've told, and there are so many interesting facts I've already come to know about you, which I didn't know so far. But if there is really one thing which is shocking or amusing and unheard of about Nassia, what would that one thing be?
I don't know if it's shocking, but I have a really good spatial awareness, and a sense of direction. I could walk in any room, reorganize it mentally very fast, which works quite good if you're trying to redecorate. But it also serves me well when it comes to work because I can work in any business and reorganize and make it more efficient. So there is a funny story on that one as well. If we have time, I can tell you. Well, I'll tell you anyhow. So years ago, when I was living in the Netherlands, I went to The Hague to the Escher Museum, and there was a test that you would do. They would show like one of the paintings. It's a very popular painting with all the stairs going in all directions, right? So, and you had to find the dot and where it was going and flashing, wearing 3D glasses on the screen. And after that, the highest scorer would get like a little treat. So we finished the test. For me, it was like good fun because I like all those things. And in the end, my friends that I was with, they were saying, "Oh, it was you because it was back here the person who had the highest score," and they were like competing between themselves who had it. In the end, it ended up being me, and for me, it was natural. So I can go into any city and I don't need directions. I can find things by just glancing at something. So that's something that people don't know about me. Not shocking, but a little tidbit.
And I think the good part is that given our industry where we often end up going to unknown territories and absolutely new destinations, I think this skill would be really of help to you.
Of course, in many cases. And it's also fun, when you visit a new city to just go and try to get lost through the streets without worrying.
Absolutely. I can totally get that. All right, Nasya. And other than all these wonderful skills you have, is there anything else which is your passion, your interest, or something else you do to recharge yourself?
I have quite a few things that I enjoy and they help me relax. I've been for the past 10, 15 years meditating, consistently. I find that really good for balancing the energy in the morning and in the evening. But beyond that, I love to paint. I do oil painting. I'm better with portraits than I am with landscapes. For some reason, I find landscapes a bit boring. Obviously, I love to read, but I also love to be read to. And my partner in life, in the evenings, he likes to read me from a book. And probably that's why I like audiobooks as well, and I like to be read to. I know we're not talking about technology and work here, but this is not a joke and it's not like it's a small thing. It's a big passion of mine. I love gadgets. I love to test new tools and discovering ways to make them work and pull them together. There's every week I would have like 2 or 3 different tools that I would test. I constantly buying new gadgets to see how they work. And, so that's something I really enjoy. And I had this since I was a kid. Kickboxing, it was something that I was extremely passionate and keen before COVID, and I still enjoy that occasionally, although since a knee injury, not as much anymore. Fast machines, I always wanted a fast bike. Always wanted to be a 50-year-old riding a Ducati, in the streets. So still that hasn't happened. And I love dolphins.
All right, that's way too many passions. So I think that I think it's like this episode is almost like a three in one. Because on an average, for every question, you have answers equivalent to what 3 guests on my show would answer. So I think this is a very value for money episode for whoever is listening.
Well, I can't help it. I'm a multi-passionate person.
And that's how one should be. Amazing. And now we come to an interesting game where, Nasya, you have to tell us 3 statements. 2 have to be truths, 1 has to be a lie. And I'll try and guess which one is the lie. In your case, it's very easy to expect that each of the statements has to be equally wild or equally exotic. And one would try and see if I can guess the right one, which is a lie. So, can we have 3 statements from you?
Yes, of course. And I'm going to try to make them easy, actually, because I know you haven't had a good track record in picking the lie. So let's see if we can break that today. So, first one, I've flown a helicopter. Second one, I climbed Kilimanjaro. And third one, I worked on a Hollywood film.
Okay. Now, these are the ones where my guests end up trapping me. Some answers look so obviously possibly a lie, and then they come out to be truths. So let's put it this way. Given all that you said about your passions, I would like to believe that mountain climbing is not something which one would not expect from you. So you've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. I feel that you have also flown a helicopter. And finally, I do hope you worked in a Hollywood movie, and we'd love to hear more about that. But let's assume for a moment that that's a lie. So I'll say that yes, I'm talking to somebody who's flown a helicopter, someone who has scaled Mount Kilimanjaro, and is soon to be featured in a Hollywood movie. Not yet, but soon to be, and hence, as of today, it's a lie. So am I right out here?
I'm afraid you got it wrong again, but oh goodness. So the lie is that I climbed Mountain Kilimanjaro. It is still on my bucket list, not accomplished yet, but I have flown a helicopter. I've taken lessons to fly a helicopter. I don't yet have my license. I'm hoping to resume that, and I find that quite fascinating. And it's something I got addicted to on a Telco trip. Taking a helicopter ride from in the south of France, right, in Cannes, and as it goes over the water and you're sitting on the front and the nose, it's almost touching the water. I found that very fascinating. So I had to learn how the machines work. The Hollywood film, when I was doing my degree in the US. I did my degree in communications and computer science. I was an intern and I was working with a casting director. And we did the casting for the movie True Lies for the Bollywood, sorry, not the Bollywood, but the dancing scene that they had there. You know, they had the tango dancing scene. So I've worked on a Hollywood film casting the people that did the dancing.
So the catch here was that you worked on the film, you've not featured in
Yes,
the film.
exactly that.
Amazing. So the movie was True Lies. Is it the same one with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee
Absolutely.
Curtis? Ah,
Yep.
okay. Interesting. Yeah, that was one fun movie to watch, and I think both the action part of it and the comedy part of it both were really well done. So you got a first-hand experience of that, and I can definitely say that I'm quite envious of you to have been able to experience that.
It was fascinating. It was an area that sometimes, I sit back and I think, what would life had been?
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of these incidents do bring you back into that reflective mode. And since you're saying about what would life have been, that's actually the perfect segue to the last question. That actually, if there is one thing in your life, in your super exciting life, that could be changed, what would that one thing be?
Well, Anurag, I believe that our experiences, all of it, good and bad, is what they're making us. But if I may, can I read you a poem that will encapsulate everything on this?
Oh, absolutely. Would love to.
So this poem is from C.P. Cavafy, and it is my favorite poem. It's called Ithaca. And it's beautiful, but let me read it to you. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lestigonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way. As long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement steers your spirit and your body. Lestigonians, Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, without pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you've seen for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearls and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from the scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. but don't hurry the journey at all. Better it lasts for years. So you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all that you've gained on the way. Not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Ithaca gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you. And if you find her poor, Ithaca wouldn't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you'll have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. So, Anurag, this is my favorite poem because it talks about life and what life is all about. And that's why I believe everything that we go through is very important to enjoy. So for that reason, I don't think I would change anything in my life, but I know that will not satisfy you. So if I had to change something, you know what I would do? I would give free internet to everybody.
I like after that long poem, you had a one-line statement to comply to the question's answer. Well, yes, free internet is something which I think the world could definitely do with. But firstly, I must say, on behalf of all the listeners, that is such a wonderful poem, such wonderful thoughts. I think every bit of life's experiences have something to add to us, and we should all take them in our stride and not really be looking at how we want to change our past or how we see that impacting our destiny, because every moment happens as it's meant to be, and we should just take the best out of it and move on with our head held high. I think that's what you said about in your poem, and I think it's really amazing. Thank you so much. It's the first time somebody has recited a poem on this show, and we are all very grateful to you for that.
My pleasure.
Awesome. And after that wonderful poem, we finally come to our last section, our sign off section. So, our signature question: what does being human mean to you? What sort of a human being would you want the world to remember you as?
Well, what makes us human is being able to connect with one each other. Everyone desires to really be listened to. And when you feel understood by other people, that's the core of our humanity, especially nowadays, with the AI all around us. That's what differentiates us. So it's important for me. I actually made it as my signature sign off on everything that I write, and it's stay connected. What makes us human, what means for me to be human is that connectivity, and being listened to and being understood. Now, what I would like to be remembered by, Anurag, I strive to give as much as I can on every single day. I start my day trying to see, okay, what can I do to add value? And if I manage even to touch one person, I would have done my bit in this world.
Those are again such wonderful thoughts, Nassia. And I think you very well managed to connect our industry with your thoughts about humanity, that it's about connecting with one another. And I think that's the focus of this podcast also. It's a means for people in this industry who know each other, sometimes superficially, sometimes a lot better. But overall, for people to understand the human side of all us industry colleagues and get to know them better. So once again, such wonderful thoughts.
Thank you, Anurag.
All right. And on that note, Nassia, thanks a lot for being a part of this show. It was amazing to hear all the wonderful stories and your thoughts and your poems and all your heroic adventures which you shared with us. And exactly as you said in your parting thoughts, connecting. I do hope we stay connected and sometime in the future we get to catch up again. So thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And on that note, as Anurag said, folks, stay connected.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Nassia. And as always, to our wonderful listeners here, thanks a lot for tuning into the show. We hope this episode gave you a good glimpse of the human side of Nassia Skoulikariti, a Greek by birth who later became an American and now is based in the UK. There are just so many facets of this person that it's tough to summarize over a single podcast. A travel lover, a gadget freak, a poet, a super versatile personality, and so much more. That for us is Nassia Skoulikariti. So, if you enjoyed today's episode, do stay tuned in because we shall soon be releasing yet another episode and another compelling story from the telecom space. And do follow the podcast on your preferred streaming channel. On behalf of Humans of Telecom, this is your host Anurag Aggarwal signing off for now. Take care.